Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares. Welcome back to What's in the Bag, Jay. Now we're down to the nitty-gritty here. We have 5 movies left. And of course, this is not where I picked 6 movies, but 5 movies now that I haven't seen from my collection, and write their names on a piece of paper, throw them in the bag, draw one at random, and do a review. Now, coming back from last week is Invisible Invaders. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty, guys. The Dead Want Women. 32 Molisana Street. Put that up there. Darkwalker. And I Still See You. Let's give the bag a good tussle, and we're going to see what we're going to watch this week. There we go. Alright, we have I Still See You. I'm going to remove that from the movies, and just remember, these are the ones that are left. Like I said, please vote, even though the dice is not in play anymore. At least I get a good idea of what you guys like. And if you have any ideas for next season, or by ideas I mean the type of films to include, definitely, let me know. I'm curious. Right now I'm going to come back with a review of I See You later. Well, I'm back. I just watched I Still See You, and here are my thoughts. I Still See You is a 2018 film, which runs approximately 98 minutes, and is directed by Scott Speer. Now, he was responsible for a movie that I've seen called Endless, which kind of lends itself to this a little bit because it's a little complicated. Midnight Sun and Status Update. This stars Bella Thorne as Veronica Calder. She was in The Duff, Habit, and Amityville Awakening. Richard Harmon as Kirk Lane. He was in The Return, Darkness Falls, and Puppet Killer. There's a reason why I laughed there. I'll let you guys know in a little bit. Dermot Mulroney as August Bittner. He was in Young Guns, The Family Stone, and Uma. Now, this had a worldwide gross of $1.6 million, which is interesting because I never really heard of it. And this was also based on the novel Break My Heart 1,000 Times. Okay, this is a very complicated movie, and I'm going to try my best to explain it because, yeah, it's pretty complicated. So in the beginning, you find out there was an event. And by an event, I mean there was an explosion at a laboratory which caused a ton of people in a town to die, and it kind of radiated. They kind of compare it in the film to Nagasaki and Hiroshima, although I don't think it spread quite that far. Now, after this event, the people who passed are still there, sort of. Now, they're called REMs, and I guess what that means is remnants of their former life. So, our main character, and I'll explain what I mean by this. I'll try to anyway. Bella Thorne plays Veronica Calder, and she goes down in the beginning to have breakfast with her mother. Now, her father is sitting at the head of the table and is reading the paper. But he's not really there. He is what's called a REM. Now, a REM is there for a short time, but they're not really there. They're almost like ghosts. So, as she's explaining the way the world is now, you're never really quite sure who's a ghost and who's not until you hear this like kind of whooshing sound, and they disappear almost in a pile of ashes. So she goes to school, goes on with her life, and she starts seeing a REM and this is another thing, REMs are, I guess, habitual, um, I don't want to call them creatures, habitual former people who do the same thing at the same time every day or night, depending on when they disappeared. So she starts seeing a REM that she's never seen before, and it just happens to be in the bathroom while she's taking a shower. Um, and he writes on the mirror almost like he's trying to warn her or she's in some kind of a danger from him. Now the movie turns into kind of a almost like a detective story where they're trying to find out who this guy is, what he wants, and is she in danger from him or maybe someone else. Now I'm gonna leave it there, but I'm gonna say there's so much more to this story, and this is a movie that you kind of really have to pay attention to, because I mean, once you get the hang of the film, maybe not quite as much, but you have to kind of figure it out in your mind. And I thought the story was incredibly original. I thought it was really neat. The acting was decent. There's really no blood or gore to speak of for the most part. It's kind of light on the horror, which is my only like complaint, but it does have horror elements in it, a lot of them. This is one that I recommend, but it's also one that I'm going to have to watch a few more times because I found some plot holes. Now, I'm not sure if I didn't understand everything correctly because they throw a lot of information at you at times, or if there are actually plot holes. I think there are a few, but the story is constructed pretty darn well, and I do recommend it. This is not something to kind of, and I know I've said this before, turn off your brain and pop some popcorn and have some fun with your friends. This is one that you actually have to pay attention to in order to get all of the little nuances of the film. I was quite impressed, and yeah, like I said, I definitely recommend it. Um, it's not going to be for everybody, though, so just kind of bear that in mind. If you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.